I want to tell my brother he's adopted, but my parents would go no contact if I do.
Parents or brother? Which one do you pick?
Yeah, just make a pros and cons list real quick.
Yeah.
I'm 26 years old, and I don't live with my parents, but had a great relationship with him, as well with my little brother Moses. Moses doesn't have a great relationship with our parents. He's never really had a relationship with them. I don't fully understand why. From what I can gather from my research, adopted children, even those who were too young to remember, can still have mental blocks and trauma which prevents them from forming full relationships with their adoptive parents.
That's interesting. I was not aware of that.
By the way, this comes from Classic Advice 5115 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So Moses is 13 years old, and we're so close he spends most of his weekends at my house. His school breaks up for summer in a week. He's already told me he wants to spend the first fortnight with me at my house, something our parents don't care about. When he's home, it's like constant fighting between them. I'm sure some of it is his teenage hormones, and possibly some of it is what I spoke about before.
Yeah, but you definitely got a lot of teenage hormones.
At 13?
Definitely.
I was almost 15 when Moses came to live with us, and I remember our parents explaining to me why it was important to keep the adoption a secret. Didn't want him to feel different, didn't want him to feel bullied, etc. At the same time, it seemed sensible. So I agreed to that and kept it a secret. I feel really regretful that I did. Moses talks to me about feeling different from the rest of the family, and I would reply with things like, "No, it's normal to feel that way when you're young," etc. Which, looking back, I can recognize as almost gaslighting him, something I truly feel guilty about. I never questioned it, not until about 2 years ago, when I started to unpack it in my mind, but if I am completely honest, I feel guilty, and so I repressed it. But it kept coming back up. I did some research into adoption and the trauma it can give children, like I said, those who can't even remember being adopted. I have no expertise in psychology and don't claim to be an expert, but this is just what I have gathered from my own research. On one hand, telling him could make his relationship with our parents even worse than it is. On the other, I feel like it can be hidden from him forever. Not successfully. I don't want to fool myself into thinking it could make their relationship better, but I don't see how it could. It would give him the satisfaction in knowing he isn't crazy or for feeling different. The more I thought about it, the more I start to resent my parents for forcing me in this role of lying to Moses. I started to avoid contact with them to the point they noticed. I spoke about how I felt and they told me I can't tell Moses and it will make everything worse for him.
Yeah, I mean, for real, like you've put yourself in an unwinnable position now. Like, no matter what you do, it's like it might not work out for the best. Like,
yeah, but I always feel like the hard thing to do is always the right thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, from the very beginning, they should have.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as he was old enough to understand it, they should have been like, okay,
yeah,
you're adopted.
Yeah.
Or as soon as he started putting out like I feel different. Like, yeah, come on.
They said, if I tell him, they will go no contact with me and make it incredibly difficult for me to have contact with Moses.
Boo. Boo these people.
Is telling him the right thing to do, or am I just being selfish? I feel like I'm lying all the time now, and we have a freaking update. We're telling him.
We tell him immediately.
Yep.
We tell him right away. Like, people deserve to live in reality.
Yep.
Especially if they're people you care about.
And I understand the parents have the right to tell him, Moses. And if they came to him and said, hey, we want to wait until he's 18 to actually tell him, just give me a game plan.
Yeah, but this is his brother.
This is his brother.
So does he not have equal, sort of, I mean, maybe not equal, but.
I mean, they picked him out. OP didn't.
We didn't. You weren't at the dog pound with us when we picked him out, OP. You don't get to say.
Yeah.
No, it's just not right. It's as soon as he himself started saying, I feel different from everybody, that's when it should be like, all right.
Because you are.
Yeah, it's like you don't want him to feel like he's crazy. It's like, we don't want him to feel different. It's like, newsflash, he already does. So now you need to make him feel correct.
Yep. Before telling him, I got in contact with my friend who is a social worker. I asked him, what if my brother decided to live with me against my parents' wishes? What would social services do? He told me because Moses was at an awkward age of 13, it would be a toss-up on whether they would listen to my brother and allow him to stay or whether they would force him to move back with their parents. I was advised that parental responsibilities, so if they really pushed, he would be moved back. But if the social worker felt he was in any way unsafe, for example, Moses saying he would run away if brought back home, they would be likely to leave him living with me temporarily. So it's a toss-up, but Moses could do some swindling.
Yeah, I think you just discussed with Moses, you're like, this is how we swindle CPS
This is how this
to
works.
let you live with me.
And you have to sign this NDA contract not to explain that to mom or dad.
For $12 million.
I decided to give my parents a final chance. Tell him the truth or I will. They told me that in no uncertain terms will they ever tell him he's adopted. And if I do, they will go no contact with me. I said I would rather they tell him, but I don't want to be the one to tell him, but I believe he has the right to know. They outright refused. Moses normally walks home from school, so instead yesterday I went to pick him up. I told him we needed to talk. I said that mom and dad weren't going to like what I tell him this, but I believe he had a right to know. I explained to him the whole thing.
Wow. I mean, he does have a right to know. Like, you can make like a call on whether or not it would be beneficial for him to know it, right? Like, but once he gets to like 13 and he's like, I feel different, like, you need to tell him.
Yeah. How he was adopted when he was around 1.5. How I didn't know that much about his background or where he was before he lived with us. I told him I was 15 at the time and how mom and dad told me it would be best for you not to know and how I stupidly believed him. I said if he was angry at me, I understood. I said I would take him home if he wanted. He was clearly in shock, but he asked to come to my house. He didn't speak at all on the drive home. When we got to my place, he just went into his room and was quiet. I was worried. Wasn't sure if I had done the right thing. He came out maybe an hour later and just asked me so many questions. I tried my best to answer them, but I told him I didn't know a lot. I said I would support him in asking mom and dad. He said he didn't want to talk to them. He sent a text to them saying he was staying at my house for the weekend. Something he normally does. Wasn't unusual. We put on a film and things were a little tense. But honestly, I expected more from him. He was so quiet. He went to bed early and I was worried. I checked up on him every 90 minutes. I bet OP can't even sleep.
No, I
OP can't sleep.
I would be completely I'd be like, did I just accidentally ruin my brother's life?
Yeah. This morning, he was a bit more back to his normal self. He said he was thankful that I told him. I asked him what he wanted to do. I would support him in whatever he chose. If he wanted to confront mom and dad, I would support him. But if he wanted to stay here, he could as long as he wanted to. He said he just wanted to process everything. I asked if he had spoken to mom or dad, and he said beyond saying he was here, no. We played Fortnite together all day and he hasn't brought it up again, but he's acting like a weight has been lifted off of his shoulders. I thought this would be sad news to him, but it seems like he's relieved. He's in bed asleep now. I'm worried about our parents are going to react, but equally, I am glad Moses now knows the truth. I'm glad that things seem to be working out okay. I hope they continue. We have a second update.
Oh, second update. I bet you it's not a good one.
Okay.
Well, I feel like it'll be good for Moses, but maybe not for the parents because they're going to get upset.
Yeah, and I understand he's not really had a good relationship with the parents, but let's say like this does change Moses and he's able to have a good relationship with him. He's like, hey guys, I am mad. He didn't tell me that I didn't know, but I mean, I know he is 13, but let's say like he takes it really well and the parents are like, oh, we were scared over nothing.
Well, yeah, I feel like that's exactly what it's going to be like. He's probably going to be...
I don't think it's exactly going to be like that.
Parents are going to be mad at OP.
Yep.
And really worried about Moses. And then Moses is going to be like, I mean, I don't even think Moses is going to be mad. He's just going to be like, I get where you were coming from, but like, honestly, I'm so glad that I know the truth.
Yeah.
And then once he says that, I feel like maybe they'll relent their rage directed at OP.
They won't go no contact. If Moses seems to be okay.
Exactly. Once they realize like, okay, this is actually probably a great benefit. Like they might just be like, thanks for telling him. We were never going to do that.
Yeah. We didn't know how he was going to take it. Oh, I wanted to give an update on the situation since it was my last post. First off, thank you to everyone. After I told Moses the truth, I was really worried about how he would process everything and what it would mean for our relationship and his relationship with our parents moving forward. Moses stayed with me the whole weekend and I tried to maintain a sense of normality. I could tell he was processing everything, but thankfully he seemed to be relieved to know the truth. Yesterday night, we had a conversation. He told me about how he always felt different and out of place and never really understood why. He said knowing he's adopted gave him a sense of clarity. He said he was unsure how he feels about our parents. I'm trying to support him without pushing him in one direction. Moses asked me to tell our parents I had told him yesterday. Honestly, I didn't want them to know yet, but I'm following what he wants. Well, they predictably did not take the news well. The normal of them being furious and accusing me of betraying them and purposely ruining their relationship because I was just jealous. I wanted to say they were doing fine at ruining their relationship without me. But I bit my tongue and I told them it was the right thing to do, but they didn't listen. They kept saying that keeping the adoption a secret was the best way to protect Moses and that revealing the truth would only harm him in disabling the family. I told them that Moses already had a sense that something was off and continuing the lie would not do anything but deepen his sense of alienation. And you will never be alienated every weekday at 3 p.m. PST when you tap our profile and join us on YouTube live.
That's correct.
During the argument, something one of the commenters said started to nag at me. I asked them directly if I was also adopted, and it was like they froze.
No way.
They didn't say anything for a good 30 seconds, and when they did, they just dismissed what I said. But I could feel something was different. I'm considering taking a DNA test to put my mind at ease, but I don't know if that's the right thing to do right now when it should be focusing on Moses.
No, dude, that's definitely the right thing to do. Get you and Moses a DNA test.
Right now.
Like, immediately.
Today, Moses tried to go home after school. Our parents locked the doors and wouldn't let him in.
What is wrong with these people, dude?
They ignored him knocking on the doors and have also ignored his text messages to him. He came back to my place, clearly upset and confused. Moses is such a good kid that I think he was willing just to move on, but now they've locked him out and he feels incredibly hurt and rejected, but I can't understand why they would do that to him. I can understand them doing it to me, but not him. These people have gone off the rockers.
Is that
what
the end of the story?
That's the end of the story. I'm checking to see if there's an update.
No. There's got to be more.
Like, yeah, dude.
What?
We gotta check. We gotta see these DNA tests. This was beautiful.
That
was a great story.
It's
Holy
insanity.
Crap, dude.